of silence. No need to speak a word. Lay here beside me. Don't wanna move too fast. Your lips on the floor. Sipping on your love. Sipping on your love.
Welcome back to the World of Wellness podcast. As you can see today, we came a little closer. The setup in this room is different, so I try to make accommodations. However, today the topic of discussion is finding calm in the chaos. So we are living in very interesting, energetic times. First of all, welcome back and thank you for being here. I really want to get into this message because it is timely. That's what I was told. It is timely because a lot of people are going through things and they're thinking that it's punishment for them, or they think that this is some kind of karma somewhere along the lines, or there's always lessons to be learned, but some things just happen and some things just are because we're not the only ones who are orchestrating the things going on the planet, right? So I hope that makes sense to everybody. Of course, we're going to start with our mindful minute. So we're just going to take a second to be present. I know that it may be a lot going on in your world, but you clicked on this video for a reason and there's something here for you. I don't want you to miss it. So let's just take a moment to be still and be silent. I want you to take the deepest breaths you've taken all day in through your nose, exhale through your mouth. As you breathe in, I want you to think of a word like peace, love, ease. Breathe out stress, grief, tension. Repeat that. You could do a new word or the same words. In. Release. We'll do that for a couple more seconds and then we'll get into the message. Let's get into it. So first, I would like to address the energetic nature of chaos because that is what we're trying to find the calm in, or working to find the calm in. Chaos is energetically extremely unstable energy. That's the best way I can explain what it feels like. It can be like when you run into a person and they're just kind of all over the place and you could tell that they have some anxiety going on, or they're going through something and they haven't quite anchored themselves yet. Or when you walk into a situation, it could be a room, a circumstance, and you just feel like there's very little grounded energy. And it can make you feel like there's anxiety. It can make you feel doubtful. It can make you feel afraid. Chaos can make you feel, sorry, I'm recording in a study room, so if you hear some babies or something, just ignore it. God bless them. But, because some baby is really out there screaming, but I'm sorry, back on topic. Chaos can also make you feel like you can't move. It can almost be paralyzing because it can make you feel fear. All right, we're gonna come back. So what is the reason for chaos? Everything that exists has a space in the world, in the universe, in the human experience. So think of storms. I always like to take things first to a nature perspective because nature is the closest thing to God, to source, in its purest and raw form, right? Like it's within us, but we're so convoluted and so affected by our human experiences and each other. But if you walk out into nature and it's undisturbed, it's the most pure thing, and in my opinion, the closest thing you can get to God. When I think of chaos, the first thing I thought of was a tornado, natural disasters, storms of all sorts, fires, wildfires, things that are not expected and not often appreciated by humans, but nature's way of restructuring, of wiping out what needs to be wiped out and trying to bring back in the balance. So unfortunately, that's the way it's done. And the same goes for life. When we have tower moments, the moments when life is falling apart or the big things are no longer holding the same space as they used to hold for you, whether that be family situations, certain jobs, things just seem to be unrecognizable after a run of chaos. That's what I liken to the storms. When I think of Mother Nature, I know that nature, everything nature does has a purpose. And so when there's a wildfire or there's a tornado, it means that something in the earth has been thrown out of balance. It has been disrupted. And as a result, in an attempt to bring back order and bring things back into the way that it is supposed to be, nature causes a major disruption. And the same goes for life. So let's say we make a decision that we were guided to make. For example, if you are an entrepreneur and you hate your job, but you're still working part-time or full-time and just trying to make it, and there's a voice saying, you need to let this go. Like, it doesn't feel good, right? So that can be the cause of a major disruption. What happens after that? If you haven't properly planned, you run into certain issues. And then after that, you eventually get over the hump and you make it to where your business is providing for you. But there had to be a disruption, and the disruption was painful. So this is why I always emphasize the fact that the dark times are some of the most beautiful, because the most beautiful transformation is occurring. This is when we get to see truly what we're made of and how far we have come on this journey. So storms are also too clear. I always think of fires because to me, fires are very cleansing. When farmers burn their land to turn it over, that's going to clear and cleanse the way for new things to take its place. So understand that if you're in a moment of chaos in your life, find calm and find peace in the fact that this is clearing the way for you. Because especially if you've prayed some prayers, this is clearing the path, and it does not feel good. What I'm learning is often, like more than often, our blessings do not come in the packages that we expect or we envision. Our advantage and our benefit, when I'm in a chaotic environment, it definitely tests my temperament. Chaos has taught me how to anchor within myself. When all hell is breaking loose around me and there seems to be like nobody making sense of the situation, nobody taking control. I used to be the one that would take control through like brute force, but I've learned power is often calm and silent and still. You can think back to the last time you lost control of your temper or lost control of your emotions in a situation because you felt overwhelmed and you didn't know what else to do. And in retrospect, you thought to yourself, I could have handled that better. These are the opportunities the chaos presents to us. If things were always steady and calm, we would have no reason to practice our temperament. We would have no opportunity to give that as a demonstration of, yes, I have grown and I have worked on myself, because the old me would have done X, Y, and Z in this situation. But instead of reacting instantly, I took a moment to simply be still. And in that moment of stillness, clarity came through. And I was able to say, the best course of action is this action or no action. Sometimes you just gotta walk away. That is one benefit and one advantage of being in a chaotic situation. Character development, major character development. To be able to think clearly in chaos is one of the biggest blessings, especially if you're a business person. So this is character development for future success. That's the way I wrote it. And it also is expanded capacity, because once you're able to perform in these high pressure environments, for me, the biggest moment of chaos recently that I can remember is when I worked in the ICU as a nurse during COVID, and I was a baby nurse at that time. There were so many moments where I just thought to myself, did that just happen? Like once the moment was over and I reacted, rather it was a code or someone coming out of sedation and getting frazzled or choking on the ventilator. Sorry if this is vivid for those of you who were affected by the pandemic. I apologize, but this is just a way for me to explain a real life scenario of how I have learned to expand in my temperament and thrive in chaos. It's not easy to do. But once you can survive environments and then learn to thrive in those same environments that used to break you or used to frazzle you or used to make you fall apart, that's when you get to level up. And that's when you get another level of blessings, because now you have demonstrated to source that I can handle the fire. And it's not always going to be that perfect. It's not going to be every time you get into a situation, you're going to handle it perfectly, because we're humans, but it's practice. And every time you, let's say you overreact in a situation, you act out of pure emotion and there's no logic, the next time you're less likely to do it if you take that time to reflect. The next time you're in a situation and you take just that breath, like take 1 or 2 breaths, y'all. It works like magic. This is what helped me be non-reactive to people who were clearly trying to get a reaction out of me and provoke me to do certain things or demonstrate certain behaviors that I've grown out of. Now when I'm experiencing someone with a chaotic energy, rather they're coming for help or they just want to complain or they're coming confrontationally, I take a breath just like that, and it throws them off sometimes, but it's for me to anchor myself. If you can take 5 seconds in between the moment that something happens that makes you want to react in a way that you know is not best, and between reacting, if you can just create that little 5 seconds of space, clarity can come in. And when that clarity comes in, you'll remember that lesson that you learned last time after reflecting. But that only works if you reflect after the fact instead of just brushing over the situation. You have to forgive yourself, first of all, for overreacting, because you're human and you're learning and it's a process. But you also have to hold yourself accountable as an adult, right? We can't act out. We can't throw hissy fits. We can't react the same ways that we used to and be asking for greater responsibility on this earth and greater blessings, because it's going to show what happens when something challenges you. Are you going to squander all your blessings because you're being emotionally reactive? Or are you going to learn how to find calm in the chaos, whether that's internal or external chaos, and use it to your advantage? If you can't do anything else, just be still. Walk away and be still. So it also reveals hidden layers, things that you thought were healed and need some retending to. What I've learned in this journey is there's so many things we have to be reminded of in this lifetime. And sometimes it's overwhelming because I'll find myself backtracking and I'm like, well, I thought we learned the lesson. That was just a repeat. Like that was like a little pop quiz to say, are you remembering? Are you remembering? And the best way to do that, because I was talking to my spirit guides and I'm like, y'all, this is a lot. Like all these things to remember, they're like, all you have to do is be present. That's what guides are here to do, to remind you, for you to have that stillness. If you're present, you're going to have that access. You're going to have that space. And that space is going to give you access to all the reminders in real time. It's kind of like you get a cheat code just because you're present and you have a sense of stillness somewhere inside of you. So that's why I always tell people to meditate, to journal, to spend time convening with spirit, because that is what serves as the ultimate guide in life. If you can connect with whatever you call God, source, if you call it universe, if you find time to connect and anchor in that, you can handle anything, because you'll understand that you're covered, you're protected, and not only that, but you're guided. Moving on to what that process looks like exactly, the first thing you have to do with the chaos is allow it. And that's kind of an illusionary thing, because you have no choice but to allow it. And I'm laughing because I remember when I would try to control everything, and sometimes I still find myself doing that, but I have to release the illusion that I have control of these things, because that frees up a lot of mental space, knowing that I'm not the one that created this mess and I'm not the one that has to fix it or clean it up. I used to have the hero syndrome, and I'll see somebody who's going through something, and naturally in me, I just want to run to the rescue, because I remember when I was young and I was going through it and I was acting out, but really all I wanted was an ear, and I wanted some advice and some guidance, and I never received that. But I had to grow out of that, because I'm going to tell you the truth. Some people just want to complain. Okay, some people want to complain. So unburden yourself from the responsibility of thinking that you're responsible for anybody other than yourself. Even though you were put here to help and to guide, you're not here to save anybody. If you're put here as a teacher, as a guide, you're put here to guide them to wisdom, to clarity, and teaching them how to find their peace and their joy on their own. It's not your job to press it on somebody, to force it on anybody, and to feel like you're in control of this person's spiritual journey. We can run into that because we're so passionate and we want them to have the peace and the clarity and the joy that we experience. But you have to remember what you went through to get that. You went through plenty of chaos, okay? And it's like a rite of passage. They have to earn the right, and you can't get in the way of that. Whatever karma they have, whatever energy they need to clear, whatever cycle they need to break, they're the only ones that can break it. That's the way it's set up. It's nothing we can do. We can pray for them. We can be a living example, but you can't pull someone out of their cycle, because even if you try to, guess what's going to happen? They're going to go on and they're going to put themselves right back in it. So this is your reminder, okay, to put down the savior complex, and remember, you must save you. And keeping yourself safe and keeping yourself in energetic alignment is the best thing you can do for anybody that's in need. I promise. And it's not selfish. Everywhere you go is going to diffuse out of you, and you touch people without even speaking to them. But if you're not in a good place energetically, you're going to touch them, but it's going to be with a frequency that is less than what you came here to share. So not saying that you're always going to be there, but remember, that's the goal, is to keep yourself in it so that you can have access to the knowledge to help the people. Releasing the illusion of control, surrendering. We're always going to talk about surrendering, because if you trust in divine guidance, timing, orchestration, there's no reason to feel like you need to control anything. My biggest goal is to be in the flow. And that is a practice, just like everything else. None of this I have perfected. There are just moments in time when it comes a little easier to me to remember and to live out all of the wisdom. But the things that I share, they're not things that I am 110% on all the time. There's nobody that way. And if they tell you that they are that way, just reconsider. We get lost in the sauce sometimes, okay? We get lost in the chaos and in the storm. But then you can always anchor to something. Anchor to that small, still voice inside of yourself and ask it to show you a way through. When you ask them to show you a way through, that is going to show surrender. And it's going to show that you're now open and allowing two more solutions. Because especially in chaos, if you haven't trained yourself to think and to feel your way through those situations in a healthy way, you don't know what to do. You don't know what to think. And oftentimes the things you're thinking of doing are some of the worst things you can do, and they're going to cause issues down the line. So finding calm in the chaos is one of the greatest things to do, especially in these times we live in. They're very energetically chaotic. So this is why I created this podcast, to share the things that help me get through it, and get through it in a way where I do my best to not judge, because Source created all of this chaos the way it is for a reason. It's for us to rise up, to use what we know, right? To fight for the light, to take over this world. So also, I guess, yeah, we're going to talk about it. We all see what's going on in the world. We all see what's going on with our food. We all see what's going on with our air, with our sun. Don't be afraid. Okay? Do not be afraid. That is the frequency that is desired as a result of all of this. Instead, focus on what you're put here to do. Garden, right? Grow your own food and pick foods that you know are from reliable sources. Be more vigilant about your energy and who you're allowing next to you, but don't be afraid, right? War times, it's time to strategize and to engage. It is not time to back up, to curl up, and to be afraid. This is why we came here. And if you understand what I just said, I got chills because you're my family, but also you know you're on assignment, and this is not the time for that, okay? This is the time for quite the opposite, and I had to tell myself that. So reel it back in, go out in nature, have Mother Gaia ground you, cleanse yourself, cleanse your spirit, talk to Source, and ask to be put back on alignment for your assignment. I love you, and we can do this, okay? Together, we can do this. So back to the episode. We talked about being calm to regain clarity, releasing the illusion of control. This is the last part. We're going to go ahead and wrap after this. When I am in the state of chaos, when my life is in chaos, when circumstances around me are in chaos, when I was in the ICU and there was pure chaos, I asked myself, what makes the most sense? What is the one action, like Oprah likes to say, what is my next best move? What is the thing that I can do that's going to make the most impact to help the situation not feel so chaotic to me? This is kind of intricacy when it comes to the power that we have as humans. Remember that we're co-creating because we're in this fleshy shell, okay? So that means that we do have some limitations because we can't control everything out here. But you always have full power and full control over what you are doing with yourself, with your mind, and with your energy. That is where your power lies. That is where the power to control your life lies. Not saying you can control every situation that comes. That's not realistic. But you are always in full power of what you can do with whatever situation comes. I want to clear that up because I don't contradict myself. In my mind, it's like, okay, we're in control, but we're not. So how is that? That means we're in control of ourself, our energy, right? What you put into your body, what you allow to dwell in your mind, how you spend your time. But you're not in control of all of the circumstances that arise. So how do we integrate that? How do we find calm in what may be a wave of chaos or a cycle of chaos or a circumstance of chaos? We use our power. If there's one word that gets me up and going on the days when I'm like, what is all this for? This is no point. The world is falling apart. No, no, no. Stand in your power. Stand in your power knowing who is in you, who you are truly. And it can be tricky to remember this because of all that goes on in the world and all that goes on internally. Remember to be patient with yourself and to give yourself grace. As always, I'm always going to circle back to that because there are a lot of mistakes to be made in this human life. And every mistake and every moment that feels like something we want to run away from is an opportunity. And remember that it's okay to just lay down and take a nap. Okay, I'm gonna hurry up and wrap up before my phone dies and before this video goes on to be like 10 hours long. I love y'all. Thank you for coming back. Be gentle with yourself, be graceful. If you need a coach to help you with guidance and accountability, fulfillment, wellness, health, etc., visit coachmelwc.com. If you've enjoyed this episode, sorry I'm speeding up, but I gotta hurry up. If you've enjoyed this episode, go ahead and give a thumbs up. If you got something out of it, share with a friend who needs it. And subscribe to the channel. We're going to start doing weekly videos starting in July. So definitely stay tuned for that. Until next time, protect your energy. Protect your energy. Don't have conversations that don't feel good. Don't feel bad for cutting them short and for moving on, okay? Protect your peace. Stay focused. Stay strong. Stay courageous. Okay, all the things. I love y'all. I'll see you on TikTok. Until next time, peace.